So, since this is Karatsu, the work that you see is often really rustic. It comes from fairly natural, fairly unrefined clay. And this is what this clay is. This is some clay that came up out of the hole when I dug the hole to build my kiln. And it's full of little rocks and sand and this and that. You can see them kind of bumping around, probably. And this is called a Yama Sakazuki, which is just a little mass-produced cup that is thrown real quick. Then cut off the wheel. And basically right there is done. You can go back and trim it later if you want, but then it's not the same thing since you took the trouble to actually trim it. But here, I'll make another one. I actually sat down to show you the trimming on some ones that I made yesterday, but they weren't quite dry enough yet, so I decided to throw a few more. Like I said, it's real simple. You just open it up, pull it once or twice. I usually do this on an on a kick wheel, but I did a nasty thing to my leg this last summer that I'm still recovering from, and so I'm going with the electric for now. And off. These old cups that the farmers used to make still have the thread marks from where they cut them off. And you can imagine a group of people in a village a long time ago all sitting down to a party, and they just pull out a big basket of these cups so everybody has something to drink out of. They didn't bother with trimming them, and they hardly glazed them with anything fancy. Just a little feldspar, maybe some ash. And quite a few of them survive in antique stores even now. And they're really fun to drink with. And they're really fast and easy to make. The problem nowadays is with the collectors, you know, they look for the ones that have the best keshki. We say keshki, which is sort of a word that means scenery. So it can't just be any old cup. Everybody has their preferences. But the important thing for these, and for most Karatsu type ware, is you need to start with suitable clay. Not anything that's too refined. And you want something that's gonna, when you trim it, in the case of trimmed things, you want something that's gonna show the trimming nicely. And a lot of Karatsu ware is unglazed on the bottom so that you can see the clay that the potter used and appreciate where it came from. Anyway, what I'm just doing now is showing you how I make these little cups. I can't guarantee that other potters make them this way in this area. This is just the way I do it. I just try to touch it as little as possible. Open it up, give it a pull. I think the natural curve of the pad of the thumb tends to work pretty well to create a nice curve on the interior of the cup. and also compresses the bottom a little bit so you don't end up with it cracking later. Typical kind of glaze you'd find on these cups is a feldspar glaze or an iron and ash glaze. Real simple, inexpensive. Leave the rims a little thick and a little round. Makes it harder to break them when you've been drinking and you're dropping them everywhere, all over the table and everybody else's lap. And if you've got a group of friends or something that you drink with usually, these make a great little gift to take to everybody on one of your get-togethers. They're easy, they don't take up much space in the kiln. And if you screw up, it's easy to make more. And if you break it, it's even easier to make more. With the kick wheel, this doesn't happen. With the electric wheel, I find myself spinning it too fast. Especially with this whisper, it doesn't make any noise, and pretty soon I've got it whizzing really, really quick. It's not a good thing if you want to have relaxed looking pottery. When you have to kick it, it naturally tends to go a bit slower. So I really prefer the kick wheel for this type of stuff, especially little stuff. You don't have to kick it too hard, it's not too much work. You get a little wobble in the top of the clay. It's not that important with things this small. In fact, sometimes it makes for a more interesting little cup in the end. You can see probably I'm using slip to wet the clay rather than water, because this is a really open sandy clay body, and if you throw off the hump like this with water with this stuff, then by the time you get halfway down the hump you've got a big pile of sludge that doesn't hold its shape anymore. One more and then I'll call it a day for the Yamaha. Slip off the rim, and then you're done. And that is it.